Welcome to another episode of Beck the Vet podcast. I am Beck the Vet, and today I have a special guest, and he goes by the name of Jamie Morehouse Dukes. He is a veteran, also a frat brother, and we're going to talk a little bit, get to know him, and talk about some of the things he likes to do on his off time, which I know one of his biggest passions is cycling. And he also used to work at Eisenhower and the VA hospital, so we're going to talk about his experiences there. So, welcome to the podcast. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you. I appreciate it, brother.
No.
Congratulations on the podcast.
I appreciate that. Appreciate that. You already know the background as to why this started. So, yes, absolutely. Appreciate you. So, getting to know you, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and share a little bit about your background and how that helped shape who you are today?
Okay, yeah. I'm Jamie Dukes. I'm originally from Waynesboro, Burke County Bears. I grew up down there and played sports in high school, basketball. And once I graduated from high school, I went into the Navy. Backtrack. In Burke County, I grew up in a single parent home. Grew up in the projects, and I always have to say that because it made me the person that I am, and I'm always humble and grateful, for that environment growing up and stuff. So,
Well,
I went into the Navy.
I know a lot about Burke County. My son, when he played his junior year, they went out to Burke County and played at their home field, which is a nice home field if you ever seen it before. And they actually have an elevator inside their football field for the announcers to take to get to their booth. So I was surprised when I seen that. well,
We do nice down there.
I see, Burke County. I tell you, but y'all always have a football team, so I see why. I
Yeah,
see why.
yeah.
You'll always compete for state. Do you have any role models growing up, and who inspired you the most?
So to be honest with you, brother, I don't have any role models, as in celebrities or athletes or anything like that. People that inspired me, of course, my siblings, especially my oldest sister Sheila, because she was like a second mom to me. When my mom was working two jobs and stuff. But as far as inspiring me, it would be like my friends. Um, and I can name them out. Ronald Davis, retired Army. We've been friends 50, 50 years. Best friends 50 years. Jamie Davis's brother, Benny Young, Vincent Rogers, Roy Davis, was like a big brother to me and stuff. Those are the guys that inspired me, um, kept me on the right track and stuff like that. I wouldn't say I had any celebrity role models, but those particular people and my siblings are my inspiration.
All right, sounds good. Are there any books, movies, or shows that have influenced your mindset or perspective?
Um, there's a lot of different books that I've read in the past, that I can't like just put one out there because a lot of time I read for knowledge and a lot of biographies. But one particular movie that I've always thought that touched my heart is The Pursuit of Happiness. That movie that Will Smith was in, and it just showed a single father, his struggle, and how he was just trying to turn that corner and seemed like there was always a roadblock in the way, but he never stopped being a father to his son, even at the most extreme moments and stuff. He was always there for his son. And of course, with any good movie, in the end, you like to see that he triumphed. He got the job and, things worked out for him.
Absolutely. And as you mentioned that book, I had to pull it out. Chris Gardner, I understand what you're talking about. And I'm telling you, those are the books that I like to read the most because I like to read about life lessons and what did you do to overcome
Yeah.
certain struggles. So yeah, those are the books that I gravitate to more.
And remind the people he was in the movie.
Yes, yes, he was. At the end, he walked out. Yep, he sure was. So, can you share a little bit about your military background and what led you to serve?
Okay, yeah. So I was a field med corpsman, 8404 Navy, and most of my time was spent with the Marines between Camp Lejeune, Paris Island, Puerto Rico. I never served on a ship. I spent more time in the field, but I never served on a ship. And we ran sick call clinics. I worked in the lab while I was in the military, but that helped me transition. That military medical background helped me transition to a job at Fort Gordon, working in the lab at Eisenhower Medical Center, and I spent quite a few years there before I eventually transitioned over to the VA as well.
That's what I was going to ask next. After transition out of the military, what inspired you to work at Veterans Affairs? So you was at Eisenhower first. Okay.
Right. So I wanted to keep that connection as far as giving back to my active duty, my veterans, to the local community as well as to the country. And working for the federal government is my way, your way of giving back and continuing to be connected with that environment and stuff. So there was two components to that. Working with the active duty. Of course, they really have everything they need, but moving over to the VA, sometimes the veterans don't have everything they need. So there's gratification in helping every veteran.
I was going to ask what was the most rewarding part and most challenging part of serving veterans through the VA?
I think the most rewarding part is any veteran that walked through that door that have no idea how to get their benefits, have no clue on what direction to go, what door to knock on. Sometimes they get frustrated because they feel like people aren't listening to them. So when a veteran would come to me and ask, hey, how can I go about getting this? Even if I don't know the answer, I will actually walk that veteran to whatever department that he or she needs, especially the older veterans, because they're limited in social media skill sets and stuff. And I'm not saying all of them, but there's quite a few. But the rewarding part is anything you can do to help that veteran get the service, the customer service that he needs while he's in between those doors is rewarding to me. The frustration part about it is the politics. Is the politics of it is misleading the veterans. Saying on one side, the benefits and stuff that they're giving veterans, and then on the other side, you're cutting, the programs and the benefits and stuff. And of course, the older veterans that may not know the details of the stuff, they don't see it, but they get caught in the middle. And sometimes as veterans, we are pawns in the political process. That's the frustration about
I understand that, especially in today's climate, but I'll stop it there. What
it.
for for yourself, what is random or an unknown fact that most people do not know about you?
I'm a loner. I'm a loner. Most people when they first meet me, they're like, "Well, you don't say much." I'm kind of a loner, and I have to do a feeling out process and stuff. Um, I don't know. Once you get to know me, though, you'll see like, okay, yeah, I can see where he doesn't say much, but then once you get to know me, I'll ramble. But it's a feeling out process for me, when I meet anybody.
Yeah, absolutely. I know a lot of veterans, we have this wall that we have up, especially when meeting new people. So
Exactly.
you gotta protect yourself. So I understand that completely. Let's get into your love for the fraternity and your cycling passion. First off, you are a member of Kappa Lambda Chi
I
military
am.
fraternity. So can you tell us a little bit about your journey as becoming a Lambda man and when and where did you cross?
Okay. Um, Spring of 2023, I crossed. And we did virtual. We actually did virtual. I think we were the first and only to do virtual because I think there was still stuff going on with
Oh, the
COVID.
COVID times. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, The journey for me, I was a little nervous about it because I was like, should I do this or not? And Brother Belafonte, Nick Dixon, he's actually from my hometown. He introduced me to the fraternity. He introduced me to the fraternity. Yeah. And I decided to go through with the process. My line, HBCU, got to meet those guys. And when I tell you that whole process, teach you about or continue to teach you about brotherhood, depending on one another and stuff. And you only as strong as the weakest link and stuff, which we didn't have weak links. But I love the fraternity.
All right, and what drew you to joining the fraternity of veterans, and how has it impacted your life personally and professionally?
So this fraternity give you a chance to be connected in a fraternity, with still that whole military teamwork concept and stuff. So that was a selling point for me. And when they told me about some of the community projects and stuff that we do, of course, working with the schools and working with the veterans, that was the best selling point for me. And that's all I needed to know. And we continue to work with the community and the schools here. In fact, last month, we went out to Jamestown Elementary, to give out some school supplies to start it off and stuff. And I honestly love what KLC is doing in the community.
Absolutely. I actually talked about this with Brother Aeneas because we, especially as service members, we have these core values that we have when we serve. And we'll do a lot of humanitarian acts of service overseas, 3,000, 4,000 miles away. Why not have that same commitment for
In
the
your
community that
backyard.
you live in? Yeah, the community that
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
paying
yeah,
taxes in, the community that you're
yeah.
raising your families in. So yeah,
That's where your most impact.
yep, absolutely. So can you share a memorable moment that you have experienced since you crossed into the fraternity?
Um, I think one of the most memorable moments was actually coming and joining my chapter. Uh, and I tell you this, after I crossed, my big brother, he was telling us about, the chapters and stuff. And he kept talking about, well, you're going out older in Augusta. Like they were like the blueprint, for the whole KLC and stuff. And how he kept talking about the impact, with the bylaws and stuff like that. I was like, oh, I'm going to D1.
Yeah.
The connection with the brothers in the chapter, the fraternity and stuff like that, because this is truly a brotherhood. You take each brother as they are. You know that brother is on your left, you know that brother is on your right, and at any moment that you need help, that brother is there for you. The random calls, the check in, hey man, hadn't heard from you in a while. And let me just say this to the audience. This brother right here, when
Oh
I
man.
tell you, this brother right here is about the the whole KFC concept. So let me give you your flowers now. I appreciate you, brother.
Oh wow, I appreciate that. Thank you, thank you. Thank you. I do appreciate that. Now let's talk about your passion. I know cycling is your number one passion, the thing that you like to do. I know that, but to others, how did you get involved into cycling?
So when I think I want to say either 2022, I was at the VA and I noticed I was going into work at 6 o'clock and my feet were swelling. And by 7:30, I was taking my shoes off, taking my socks off because my ankles were swelling up and stuff. I had to gain weight and everything because I had stopped working out. So I finally made an appointment to see my primary provider, and man, he was telling me my A1C was up, my cholesterol was high, my blood pressure was high. This is some stuff I had never heard before. I had never had issues with that. Yeah, and he was like, Jamie, you don't gain like 30 some pounds since last year. Little Debbie pies. I'm eating good.
Yeah, I tell you, like that weight when it comes on and packs on, you don't even notice it. You just like you good, you straight. But yeah, I definitely understand where you came from because when I deployed to Afghanistan, I was pushing 240, and I was
Yeah.
like, "What the
Yeah.
heck?" But yeah, I understand. So it was a health scare.
It was a health scare. So he was like, why don't you, get back in the gym, take some walk, kind of, burn some of the calories. He was just giving me pointers. And I tell you, I did the walking, didn't mind doing the walking. And I saw this older guy cycling one day. I was like, I'm gonna go buy me a bike. And I went to Walmart, got me a mongoose.
Nice.
So I took the bike out there and saw that gentleman again. And when I went out there, he pulled up beside me, and I was struggling. I wasn't even a mile in. And I tell you, I was struggling. I was huffing and puffing. It's like, well, let me get you some pointers there. He's like, we introduced ourselves. He said, first of all, you need to put some air in your tire. It looked like it's about flat because I never paid attention to it. The seat was low, and he said, if you're gonna make this a habit, you may want to invest in a bike and stuff. I'm like, okay, how much is it? It's like, yeah, they got different ones at the bike shop. And I came out about twice. And I put that bad boy up because I was like, this is a young man thing. And about 2 months later, I pull it out again. And 1 mile turned into about 5 miles. 5 miles after about 3, 4 months turned into 10 miles. I said, you know what? I'm going to invest in a bike. And I went to Andy Jordan. So when I asked the guy to show me some bikes and stuff, he did. And I saw one bike and I said, well, how much is this bike? And he was like, it's about 900 right here. And I said, 900, where exactly is that decimal? So my first bike was a hybrid. But long story short, I started to get out there, do it more, and I start enjoying it. But I tell you, I started enjoying it more up here as well as here because it became like a mental calmness and stuff, just being out there, just riding and stuff. And I started meeting different people. And, I had one person say, hey, why don't you do this ride on Saturday? Did the ride and I got dropped, because you guys were more advanced than me and stuff like that. But I kept at it. And I signed up for my first organized ride, which was Bo Jackson and stuff. And that was like
Oh,
the first time
nice.
I did 62 miles and stuff.
I was about to ask you, what's your average when you do a bike ride? How many miles?
During the week overall, I do 100, 150. During the day, I may do anywhere from 15 to 30, depending on, because I got a riding partner with me, you know, what our headspace is, what we want to do, what the weather is like, and stuff like that. And if I go do organized ride, depending on what the rides are.
All right. Do you travel around the country to go to different
I travel a
events?
lot around the southeast, different organized rides and stuff like that. I want to venture out into Texas to ride with some groups out there. Let me just say this: there are so many cycling clubs in this country. There are so many Major Taylor cycling clubs. Major Taylor's first black world champion and stuff. So a lot of clubs are populated based off his names and stuff. But the community itself, that cycling community, it is something beautiful, man.
That's that. That's why I told you. Like after this, if you want to, because I know you got a couple other frat brothers that cycle as well. So if we want to just have a cycling chat on the
Yes,
podcast, we
yes,
can do that.
yes.
Sounds like a plan. Sounds like a plan. So what's been your most memorable ride or cycling event so far?
My most memorable is every year the One Love out of Atlanta. So this is the smile on my face. The One Love cycling event out of Atlanta is hosted by Metro Atlanta Cycling Club, MAC. And they've been doing this, I think, 19 years now. And it
Hmm.
is one of the biggest cycling events in the country, but it's definitely, um, by stats, the biggest cycling event in the Southeast. And I just came from there last week, and I think they had anywhere from 2,000, maybe 3,000 cyclists and stuff. And then,
Oh
of
wow.
course, they had volunteers, and they got cyclists come from, I think, I saw some from Jamaica, I saw some from LA, Chicago, Detroit, New Jersey, and stuff. It's like a big family reunion. Love it.
That's what I'm talking about. I did not know that. Okay, let's talk about your future plans and reflect a little bit. What gives you
Okay.
hope about the future of the fraternity?
I think the future for the fraternity, I think we're in good hands. I think international president, is leading us in the right direction. Of course, with any organization, any kind of structural companies, you can tweak it here and there. But we're only as strong on a national level as we are in the regional, and the chapter. When you start building those chapters up, making a solid foundation, the region is strong, the fraternity is strong. What makes us unique is that we're a military fraternity. So we got room for growth, but we got to be solidified in that growth.
Absolutely. Absolutely. If you could go back in time and give your younger self some advice, whether it's transitioning to civilian life or doing what it is that you're doing now, what would it be?
Probably not partying as hard when I was young.
Slow down on the party. I see
Slow
that.
down. Slow down. And it's easy for us to say if we can go back and do it. But who's to say if we corrected that issue or whatever it was in the past, we would be here today. So I
Absolutely.
enjoy where I'm at today. I enjoy where I'm at today, and even the mistakes were lesson learned that got me here today.
All right. So how do you challenge yourself and grow personally at this stage of your journey?
Okay, and I have to go back to cycling. Cycling has been a mental challenge, and have helped me grow personally, in life. It has given me uh, something to look forward to, waking up every day. When I say something to look forward to, I literally wake up looking to go for a ride. You know,
Really,
that's my growth. Cycling is my growth.
and that's the beauty of it, especially being a veteran, just having something that's there that you can
Yeah.
actually do to get your mind and take your mind off of things.
Yes. Not
So,
sitting on the couch.
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So where can people learn more about cycling and getting involved in the cycling
It
world if they choose to?
if there's anyone in the area that's interested in cycling, and don't worry about what you see me or anybody else doing as far as speed or the bikes or whatever. If you're interested and you want to come out and ride, you definitely can give me a call. Um, there are all kind of clubs in the area. Um, Outspoken Bike Shop on Walton Way does a Saturday morning ride at 9:30. Andy Jordan and Chain Reaction. If you looking just trying to get information about bikes, what kind of bike do I need? Those three bike shops in Augusta are very customer friendly. They're very professional, and they will get you in the right direction with a bike. They will even team you up with someone that may be doing a ride, even if it's not me. But if it's something that you're thinking about doing, yeah, please give me a call.
Absolutely. So where can people reach you in case they do have questions about cycling on one advice? Where can they find
Okay.
you at?
Yeah, of course, like my phone number again, 706-394-2732. You can email me, J D as in Dukes, UK22 at yahoo.com. Um, just give me a call, give me an email. I'll be glad to, answer any questions that I may have. And I am not like the fastest of the fast. I am not like long tenured when it comes to cycling. There are some guys in this area. I don't know whether you know James Jetton,
No, I'm not familiar.
Crystal Starkey, and stuff like that. Augusta is hidden talent when it comes to cyclists.
That's good to know. Well, I appreciate you coming on the platform there, Morehouse. I appreciate you coming on, man. As I am Beck the Vet and I continue to honor the past and build the future and serve the now. That's what I'm talking about. I appreciate you being on, bro.
Thank you, brother.
No problem. You have a good evening.
You too, brother.